I'm not splitting my mom's inheritance with my siblings. Honestly, same. Kidding! I probably wouldn't get anything. This story came this year, January 12th, 2025. What a way to start the new year. Happy New Year! Here's something terrible. I, 28 female, have 6 siblings. Our mom... I'm making jokes. This isn't funny. Our mom recently passed in November from stage 4 cancer. I had a really great relationship with my mom. We would spend time together, and my 4 children, 5-year-old twins, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, all loved her. I am the youngest of all of my siblings. My older siblings didn't prioritize much time with my mom until the last few months when she couldn't do much for herself anymore. I currently live with my boyfriend, 38 male, and our 4 children in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's a nice apartment, but of course it's not ideal for our large family. Over the summer, while my mom was still very coherent, she signed a transfer on death of her house, a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, to me, for myself, my boyfriend, and our children to move in. She did the transfer so I wouldn't have to buy the house, as we would not be able to afford a loan for her house. And her house only had less than 1 year left until it was completely paid off, so we would be able to afford her payments that way. All of my other siblings own their own homes and have plenty of room in their homes for their individual families. I didn't ask my other siblings if they were okay with this, but I didn't see it as their decision or whether they had a say, considering it's our mom's house and she had the final say anyway. And like I said, all of my siblings owned their own homes anyway. Once my mom passed, she had some medical bills that needed taken care of, so it seemed as though we would need to sell the house to take care of them. After looking into it more, my boyfriend said that he would buy the house at just enough to cover the medical bills rather than what it's worth, considering we can't afford what it's worth. Plus, my mom had planned on us just moving in and not doing any sort of loan anyway. She had a cash inheritance, which she left my oldest sister, Melanie, 43 female, to split equally among all of my siblings. Since my mom has passed, we have asked Melanie how much is left in the inheritance, as it would be split 7 ways, and she would always just kind of dodge the question. She would say she hasn't counted it yet, or she is unsure. Is Melanie hoarding this money, or did she spend the money? My mind is going negative. Could not be true at all. My mom also had some coins that were worth some money. She had 4 coins worth about $3,200 and a 5th coin worth about $1,200. I only found out about these coins from my other sister, Rochelle, 35 female, because she told me Melanie thought about giving a coin worth $3,200 to herself, Rochelle, and my brother Nick, who's 37 male, and also myself. The coin is worth less to another hand-picked sibling, and then just never telling the last 2 siblings about the coins at all. Okay, that really upset me. I understand the coins gain value over time, and that's why they didn't want to pawn them for cash to split equally, but that is really unfair, and considering there are not 7 coins, I believed the fair situation would be to pawn them for cash so that everyone could be involved. Yeah, we're just choosing to leave out some siblings here. That's crazy. I suggested that and then never heard anything else about the coins after that. And then one day last week, when I had Rochelle and my niece over for dinner, she dropped a gold coin out of her purse and quickly put it back. I never said anything, but I couldn't believe they decided to kick me out of that inheritance because I stuck up for the 3 siblings that were going to be slighted. Well, flash to a couple days ago, my boyfriend got approved for the loan. I told Melanie about this to keep her in the loop, and her response shocked me. She told me that she did not feel comfortable selling the house to my boyfriend. I didn't understand because selling the house to my boyfriend was just a way for us to keep the house so that my mom's medical bills would get paid. And my mom's wishes were for my family to move into the house. After I got off the phone with Melanie, I called Rochelle to see how she felt, but she couldn't talk right away. Once I was able to talk to Rochelle, it was very clear that Melanie had gotten to her first and manipulated the situation. So I texted the group chat with all of my siblings. Essentially, they all want to sell the house at full value to a stranger so they can receive an inheritance of cash from the house selling. Melanie had very obviously made them believe that my mom only transferred the house into my name so I could take care of selling it and splitting the money with all of my siblings. That wasn't the truth, and I tried telling them that our mom did not do that, but Melanie had manipulated the situation. situation. For context, Melanie is the oldest, and all of our siblings can be pretty easily manipulated in a situation when it comes to Melanie. It sounds terrible, but it's true. I can see right through it, and I try to say my side, but they are all just set on Melanie's side. They all want cash from the house, but I want to live in it like my mom had intended. Like I said, my mom transferred the house into my name, so I'm going through with selling the house to my boyfriend to pay my mom's medical bills, and so us and our 4 children can live there. My siblings feel like I have scammed them out of an inheritance, but I feel like I found a way to get the medical bills paid so that my family can live there, which is what my mom intended when she was there. So, am I wrong? Wow. I have no answer to this because this whole situation is seriously sad, and it's sad that all the siblings could turn on each other in such a difficult time, and everyone's focused on, the money and splitting things and the coins and leaving people out. This is a mess, an absolute mess. I'm trying to see it from every side, and it's very difficult. In one breath, I can totally see why the siblings are sell the house and we all get an equal share of the cash. And then I can also see this standpoint. It was transferred to you and there was a plan in place before she passed away. I have no idea. I have no idea who's right, who's wrong, what's fair, This is emotional. We have some updates though. So I guess let's see how this all plays out. The next update came the very next day. My oldest sister, Melanie, had made me believe that the debt needed to be paid from the house, not the cash estate. She would never disclose to us that there wasn't enough to pay off my mom's medical bills. I contacted an estate attorney and ended up speaking with the attorney who was directly handling my mom's medical debts. He told me that there was no need to sell the house right now, that my family could move into it with no worry of paying the medical debt until the future if I ever decided to sell it. So, that's what we're going to do. If we ever decide to sell it, which I don't see right now why we would, as finding a 5-bedroom house is really hard to come by, we will split the sale of the house after her medical debts are paid, and of course subtract any money that we put into it going forward from their portion. Okay, so come the time you sell it, you'll use the money, pay off the medical bills, and then split the rest of that equally between all siblings, except if you put money into freshening up or renovating the house. I do agree that keeping the deed of the house in my name is the wise decision so that I will always have the security with my children if something were to happen between myself and my partner. I also agree with that. Protect your family and your family home and yourself, for sure. I really appreciate all the comments making that aware of me and all of the comments wanting to make sure I seeked out a lawyer. As far as the coins go, I didn't mention them because I was upset I wasn't getting a portion. I understand getting the house is a big deal. I mentioned what was happening with the coins to give an example as to why I don't feel like I can trust Melanie and why I feel like she's going to not be honest about the money and the estate, which she wasn't. There is more money than just the coins, and that she is not being honest about. The deceptiveness is what hurts me. I feel like I am very open and honest with my family and would never try to deceive them. I would rather all conversations, especially with my family, hold integrity. Once I had felt settled and secure with talking to my lawyer, I texted my sibling group chat to let them know what was going on, that the house will stay in my name. Melanie has been manipulating the situation, and once she thought that I was selling it to my boyfriend, I knew she would tell all of my other siblings that the problem is not that I was keeping the house, but that it would no longer be in my name. I can tell she is very angry that she can no longer spin the story for her narrative. But this is what my mom had intended in the first place, for myself and my children to have somewhere to live, and she always knew my boyfriend was just in our package deal. Melanie still seems mad, but I don't see the problem anymore. Okay, but why are we still not knowing what cash, inheritance cash, is there? And Melanie knows. And you said it's more than you what's happening? Why is that being a secret? And why is she just not giving everyone their cash? Maybe I just don't know how this works. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than what I'm thinking. Here's your cash, and there's probably a lot that goes into it. We have another update, and this came January 21st. I don't have too much of an update currently. However, I don't think I'll have another update again until next week. And I want to keep you guys in the loop of what's going on. Since I have told Melanie that we plan on keeping the house, she has made it her mission, at least how I see it, to do everything in her power to to bury me. Melanie is my big sister by 15 years, so I've always trusted her and what she has said and done. Naively, I guess. Like I've said before, Melanie was my mom's power of attorney. She made sure my mom's bills got paid toward the end, and that was her responsibility. Once I told Melanie that we would be keeping the house, she would tell me she didn't have my mom's account information and withheld all the information I needed to pay her bills. I made all the phone calls and all the utilities were easily transferred into my name. However, going to the bank, of course, was a little more difficult. Why are we turning on each other in this time? We're siblings. I can't even make a payment without knowing her account number. Melanie has kept all of my mom's paperwork and refuses to give me that information. So I am currently in the process of waiting for the bank to email me a form to fill out to become a person on her account that can make payments. Then once that hopefully gets accepted, I can apply for the assumption of her account. I am hoping all of this goes over well with no bumps. Melanie is very angry at me. I told her I didn't feel like she was being fair in the way that she was dividing the estate, and that she continues to change the story to fit her narrative for the day or who she is talking to. I told all of my siblings that they could still go through my mom's house if they wanted anything of hers before we donate. Everyone has had a key to my mom's house because we would all go over and help her with anything she needed. Melanie then went through the house to take all the valuables, collectibles, anything that could be sold for decent money so that she could sell it herself and pocket it all. Mind you, I'm not talking about a couple of small trinkets. She took 4 large glass and real wood curio cabinets, 20 collectible cookie jars, and at least 100 collectible angels. So she took it all. And she did this all in one day as soon as she found out that I would be keeping the house. So I asked my boyfriend to change the locks, and he did. I'm so glad he did because I found out that they had been talking about taking the fridge and the stove. Since then, my boyfriend believes that they have been coming over daily to check the trash. They are crazy. Once she found out the locks had been changed, she truly tried to isolate me from my siblings and my dad. They are really the only family I have left. Unfortunately, they are all easily manipulated. Truthfully, I don't really want to try to reconcile my relationship with them if they are so easily manipulated into cutting me out of their lives. And yes, she manipulated my dad as well. I lost my mom only a month and a half ago, and now in the snap of a finger, I've lost everything else. It's been very hard to deal with, but I truly don't feel as though I'm in the wrong here. Maybe my post seems biased, but I don't feel like I'm withholding any information. I also contacted the lawyer who drew up the transfer on death so that I could make an appointment with her to finalize it now that my mom has passed. I also asked her if we could discuss my mom's estate. She then told me that no estate had been filed. I also contacted the probate court in our county to get a hold of my mom's will, and they also told me no will had been documented with them. All of that was Melanie's responsibility. It isn't right. I will definitely come back with an update at the end of January or beginning of February, as I have an appointment with the lawyer to discuss this next week. This is getting messier and messier, worse and worse. We're all supposed to be family and leaning on each other, and now it's just battling the estate, the house, the inheritance, the finances. What an absolute disaster. What do you guys think so far? I have no idea how to feel about this. Is she wrong for keeping the house? Should she have sold the house and split it equally? I have a headache. It's not even me. Before we get to the final update, let's hydrate because I definitely need a drink and I need more than water, but because I'm sick, we're gonna do the proper thing and we're gonna hydrate. Cheers. Drink your water and your vitamins. The final update to the story came February 24th, 2025. I think this will be my final update. There are still a few loose ends that need to be tied, but as long as that goes smoothly, no need for another update past this one. So let's hope for the best. I went to the lawyer to finalize the transfer on death. Everything has been signed as far as the deed is concerned. I spoke to the lawyer regarding Melanie, and she said since Melanie had taken everything out as cash right before my mom passed, the only way to force her to start an estate with it would be to basically take her to court on counts of theft of my mom's money. Oh my God. which I don't really want to do to my sister. I understand what she has done is wrong, but I also understand I inherited a great asset, so I'm just going to call it a wash. A lot of you said to not split the sale of the house with my siblings if I ever decide to sell it. I feel conflicted about this. I'm not sure if I will ever sell it anyway. I have no plans for this in the time being. But if I ever do decide to sell, I will definitely take into consideration what it's currently worth before any renovations, time, and money that we put into it going forward, and of course the cash inheritance that I am not receiving. I will have to just assume what everyone is getting right now because Melanie would not tell me that either. I could ask my siblings, but honestly, I don't want to put any more effort into it. I will just assume the highest possible number without being unreasonable. Their fault for not being honest to begin with. My relationships seem repaired with my siblings and my dad, but they are not the same. There is still some uncomfortability there because of course they still have a relationship with Melanie and I don't feel comfortable being completely open with them like I once had been. I am happy the relationships are at least somewhat repaired though. I know they are just feeling caught in the middle between Melanie and I. They don't believe Melanie would lie and they don't believe that I would lie. And I think because I'm the youngest and Melanie is their oldest sister, they think I'm confused. Like I said before, Melanie is 15 years older than me. So she was an adult before I had even started school. She always had more life and school experience up until the last 5 years or so. So, although I feel like I've caught up in the last few years, she will always have that older sister leg up on me when it comes to everyone else. Melanie is also now telling everyone that I need to get a personal loan for the house so that I could buy all of my siblings out. That doesn't even make any sense. I would not be able to get approved for such a large personal loan, and the interest would be outrageous compared to a home loan. It would have made more sense for me to get a home loan to buy the house if I needed to buy everyone out. Home loans are much easier to obtain, the interest is lower than a personal loan, and they would have a much higher loan for a home loan rather than a personal. But I wouldn't have agreed to that anyway because I would have gotten a home loan for a house that's move-in ready. My mom's house needs a lot of work. My mom put the house in my name for myself and my children to have and move into. When I spoke with the lawyer, she told me that when she sat down with my mom, that my mom knew that there was an option to put the house into all 7 of her children's names, and that would be a way to keep it out of the court, and then I could buy my siblings out. But my mom didn't want to do that because she wanted the house in my name so that I could move into it with no loan involved, and she knew my siblings wouldn't be getting a payout from it. I understand how that seems hurtful to my siblings, but that's just what happened, and they definitely got a cash, coin, car, valuable to sell inheritance that I am not a part of. With all of this to say, I think my siblings are conflicted on who is telling the truth because Melanie spins absolutely everything. I've decided to just be done with any more talk of it. Even if it is to defend myself, it's not worth my mental health over it. I am still in the process with the mortgage company to assume the mortgage, but I'm hoping since the house is in my name and I am currently the one paying the mortgage, that it's just paperwork and there aren't any hiccups with that. Now, there was an edit to add on the same post later that day. I just want to mention that Melanie was the power of attorney, which ends at death, and was not named the executor. Nobody was. My mom, unfortunately, did not make a will. She felt like all of us would sort things out fairly. She put Melanie in charge of dividing cash and assets because Melanie is the oldest, and she believed that Melanie would be fair about it. At the time, I also believed that she would be fair about it too. We were both wrong. The lawyer told me that because there is no will and no named executor, if we wanted to start a legal estate, all of the siblings would have to agree to name an executor. But that would then bring me to needing to take Melanie to court for theft of my mom's money since it's all basically cash and unaccounted for. Yes, she's being unfair and I do believe stealing, but I will not take my sister to court. I'm just choosing to let it go the best I can. What are you guys doing in this whole situation? And now that we have the final update, are you taking your sister to court or are you just saying, wiping your hands, taking the house, and moving forward? This is so much. My sick brain can't even begin to process. So I'll see you guys in the comments section. We can chat about it. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.